The Jar Dominion's massive fleet cut through the endless blackness of space like a razor slicing through cloth. Hundreds of warships, from swift scouts to colossal dreadnoughts, moved with deadly purpose toward Earth. Their mission was clear: conquer the Blue Planet, the last notable obstacle before the Dominion's rule extended to this corner of the galaxy. For decades, the Jar had swept through star systems, overwhelming defenses and breaking spirits with a combination of technological superiority and brutal tactics. Their ships carried weapons that could vaporize entire cities, shields that deflected the mightiest energy blasts, and crews trained to crush any resistance without mercy. Scanners on the flagship painted a grim picture of Earth. No planetary defense grid, no fleet in orbit, only a handful of outdated satellites and scattered space stations, remnants of human exploration, but hardly enough to repel an invasion. The alien commander's contempt was palpable. In the main command chamber, the Jar warlord Talkesh sneered as he surveyed the data holograms. "They are weak," he growled. "No shields, no fleet, no hope. This world will fall before we even touch their surface." His second-in-command, a cold and calculating strategist named Vizar, nodded. "They are unprepared, but we must not underestimate them. There is always the possibility of hidden defenses." Talkesh laughed, a low, menacing sound that echoed through the chamber. "Hidden defenses, on a planet so primitive? No, they lack the technology to even detect us until it's too late." Meanwhile, across Earth, the mood was far different, if only to those who knew where to look. On the surface, life continued as usual. Cities bustled with activity, news outlets speculated on unexplained signals in space, and governments issued vague statements to calm the public. But beneath the surface, a storm was gathering. Deep in a concealed facility under the Pacific Ocean, far from prying eyes, General Amina Voss stood before a bank of monitors. Her sharp eyes scanned the streaming data with unshakable calm. She was the architect of Earth's secret defense, the one who had spent years preparing for the day when humanity would face an enemy from beyond the stars. "General," her chief tactical officer spoke quietly, "the Jar fleet is within 1 million kilometers and closing fast. They expect no resistance." Amina nodded slowly, her mind racing through the final steps of a plan kept secret from even most military personnel. "Activate Phantom Protocol," she ordered. At that command, across the farthest reaches of the solar system, dormant sensors blinked awake. Far beyond Pluto's orbit, ships cloaked in darkness slipped from their hidden outposts. These were not Earth's known vessels. They were the stealth fleet, humanity's best-kept secret. Built in the shadows, these ships represented decades of work combining alien technology recovered from ancient battlefields with human innovation. Their hulls absorbed radar and electromagnetic scans. Their engines emitted no heat signatures. Their weapons were silent and precise. To the Jar, they were nothing but myths, ghost stories whispered in classified briefings. The stealth fleet's crews, trained in silence and patience, held their breath as the enemy fleet edged closer to Earth's atmosphere. Commander Elias Hayes, aboard the lead stealth cruiser U.S. Revenant, tightened his grip on the control console. Years of preparation had led to this moment. He glanced at his crew, every face a mix of resolve and quiet determination. "Remember," Hayes said, voice steady, "we are the shield that this planet never knew it had. We strike unseen. We vanish like shadows. The moment we reveal ourselves is the moment the Jar learn that Earth is not defenseless." Back in orbit, the Jar flagship breached Earth's atmosphere, expecting an unopposed descent. Instead, something strange happened. The lead dreadnought suddenly flickered on sensors, and then vanished. No explosion, no debris, just gone. Confusion rippled through the Dominion's ranks. The next 3 ships disappeared the same way, as if swallowed by the void itself. Their scanners searched frantically, but nothing appeared. It was as if an invisible hunter was picking them off one by one. The Jar fleet slowed, tension rising. Talkesh's confident smile faded into a scowl. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. Deep beneath the surface, General Voss allowed herself a rare, brief smile. "They thought we were defenseless," she said quietly. They were wrong. The war for Earth had begun, not with a roar, but with silence. The Jar Dominion's massive armada hung like a dark cloud over Earth's solar system. From orbit, the blue planet looked fragile, peaceful even, as if unaware of the deadly shadow looming above. The alien commanders, confident in their victory, prepared to announce Earth's submission to the galaxy. Then, without warning, a chilling transmission blasted across every frequency in the known universe. The Jar flagship broadcasted a message so cold and final that it echoed through every star system. "This world is claimed," the voice declared, deep and mechanical. "Resistance is futile. Surrender your planet and your people, or be destroyed." Across Earth, the transmission was picked up by satellites and received by every government, every news agency, every communication channel. Panic rippled through the population. Social media exploded with fear and confusion. People clutched their loved ones, unsure whether to run, hide, or fight. World leaders gathered in secret councils, their faces grim and tired. But no public declaration came. No desperate speeches to rally citizens. The truth was a guarded secret. Earth was not defenseless. It was a lie told for the sake of survival. Deep beneath the surface, in the secret command center under the Pacific, General Amina Voss watched the broadcast calmly. Her fingers hovered over the control panel as she assessed the alien fleet's movements. The Jar were giving their ultimatum, expecting humanity to kneel. "General," her communications officer said softly, "the world is watching. They want answers." Amina's gaze hardened. "They will get answers, but not the ones the Jar expect." She pressed a button. On screens around the room, a live feed switched to encrypted channels, broadcasting a message of hope and defiance, not fear. "This is Earth," General Voss's voice echoed across secure networks. "We have not been silent because we lack the will to fight. We have prepared, hidden in the shadows, waiting for this day. Earth is not defenseless. The fleet you see in orbit is only a fraction of our strength. Outside the hidden command center, millions of soldiers and engineers worked in perfect synchrony. The stealth fleet, silent and invisible, was now poised to strike." Meanwhile, across the globe, people watched the broadcast with wide eyes. The truth shattered their panic. The myth of helplessness was broken. For the first time, humanity glimpsed the power hidden behind its quiet surface. In orbit, the Jar fleet remained uncertain. They had expected a swift surrender. Instead, they faced a planet ready to fight back in ways they had never imagined. Commander Elias Hayes, aboard the U.S. Revenant, felt a surge of pride. "The world is ready," he told his crew. "They believed we were weak. They were wrong." The Jar responded with frustration and aggression. Scouts were sent to detect the stealth fleet, but every mission ended in silence. No ships returned. The aliens realized they were not just facing another planet. They were facing ghosts in the void. On Earth, General Voss prepared her final orders. "Engage on my command. Show them what it means to underestimate humanity." Her voice was steady, her resolve unbreakable. The moment had come to reveal the true strength hidden beneath Earth's calm surface. In the dark reaches of space, the stealth fleet moved silently, ready to change the course of history forever. The Jar fleet had expected Earth's surrender, but instead, they found themselves hunted. As the alien warships glided through the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere, their confidence slowly shifted to confusion, then fear. The first to vanish was the Jar dreadnought Jarkor, a massive vessel bristling with weapons and shields that could withstand entire starbursts. It disappeared without warning. No explosion, no debris, just an empty spot where it had been moments before. Impossible. Talkesh barked in disbelief. How does something disappear without trace? Scan again. The fleet's scanners swept the surrounding space, flooding the command center with data. Yet no anomalies showed on the sensors. The lost ship seemed to have simply vanished. Before long, 3 more vessels vanished the same way. Panic began to ripple through the fleet. The Jar, known for their brutal efficiency, had never faced an enemy that could strike without revealing itself. On board the U.S. Revenant, Commander Elias Hayes watched the enemy's confusion with quiet satisfaction. The stealth fleet, long a secret even among Earth's own people, was now the reality the Dominion feared. Cloaked in advanced invisibility fields, Earth's ships moved like shadows, striking swiftly and disappearing before the enemy could react. "Stealth attack confirmed," Hayes said over the comms. "They think we don't exist, but we are here, and we will not let them win." The stealth fleet's tactics were unlike anything the Jar had encountered. They struck vulnerable points, engines, weapon systems, communications, crippling ships without causing full destruction. This was deliberate. The goal was not to annihilate, but to disorient and slow the enemy. Talkesh grew furious. "Send the scout ships. Find the hunters." The scouts raced ahead, scanning every corner of space. But each returned damaged, with scrambled systems and shaken crews. One scout reported a flash of movement too fast to track, a shadow passing through the void like a ghost. Inside the Jar command ship, tension mounted. The Dominion's ironclad control was slipping. Their empire, built on fear and overwhelming strength, was suddenly vulnerable to an unseen enemy. On Earth, General Amina Voss coordinated the strikes from the hidden command center. She had spent years preparing for this moment, turning Earth's weaknesses into strengths. The stealth fleet was the culmination of humanity's determination not to be conquered. Her fingers flew across the console, issuing orders that echoed through the silent fleet. Focus on disabling their command ships. Without their leadership, the Dominion will fracture. In the shadows of space, the stealth fleet struck again. The flagship Charcor reappeared on scanners. But now it was crippled, drifting without power. The Dominion's forces faltered as their communication lines were severed and coordination broke down. Even as the Jar scrambled to respond, Earth's ships remained elusive, fading back into invisibility before any counterattack could land. Commander Hayes addressed his crew in a rare moment of openness. "We're not just defending our planet. We're sending a message. Earth is no longer the weak world they believed. We are the shadows that protect our future." The crew responded with nods and quiet smiles. They had trained for this. Years of isolation, secrecy, and preparation, all leading to this moment of truth. Meanwhile, the rest of the galaxy watched in stunned silence. News of Earth's hidden strength began to spread. Other worlds, once resigned to the Dominion's rule, found hope in Earth's resistance. Back on the Jar flagship, Talkesh clenched his fists. The war he had expected to be a swift victory was turning into a nightmare. He whispered to himself, "We underestimated them. A grave mistake." The shadows had awakened, and Earth was no longer defenseless. The battle raging in the skies above Earth was not a sudden reaction. It was the culmination of decades of secret work, whispered plans, and relentless determination. Far from the public eye, humanity had been preparing for this moment long before the Jar arrived. 60 years earlier, a man named Dr. Elias Grant had made a discovery that would change everything. While leading an excavation on Mars, his team uncovered the remains of an ancient battlefield, ships and weapons that bore no human markings but hinted at a vast conflict fought among the stars. The ruins spoke of a forgotten war and a galaxy filled with dangers far beyond Earth's understanding. The find was classified immediately. World governments united in secret, forming a covert coalition to study the alien technology and develop defenses to protect Earth from any threat. The project was named Phantom Shield. From that day, scientists, engineers, and military strategists worked tirelessly, combining recovered alien tech with human innovation. The breakthroughs were astounding. cloaking technology that bent light and radar, quantum drives that allowed near-instantaneous jumps, weapons that fired silent pulses of energy. The greatest challenge was secrecy. If the knowledge leaked, panic would spread, or worse, rival nations might try to seize control. So Phantom Shield operated in shadows, hidden bases beneath oceans and deserts, training programs disguised as routine military exercises, and vessels designed to vanish from every sensor. Over the years, a generation of commanders and crews was trained in isolation, their mission kept from even most government officials. They learned to move like ghosts, strike without warning, and vanish before the enemy could retaliate. General Amina Voss was one of those chosen. From a young age, she excelled in strategy and leadership. Her dedication earned her command of the stealth fleet and the responsibility to lead Earth's defense when the time came. The fleet itself was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering, small enough to avoid detection, powerful enough to challenge the Dominion's largest dreadnoughts. They operated in perfect synchronization, a deadly dance of shadows and light. As Earth's secret grew, so did the resolve of those who guarded it. They understood that when the Dominion arrived, the survival of their world depended not on brute force, but on cunning, patience, and unity. Back in the present, the legacy of that preparation was clear. The stealth fleet's success was no accident. It was the result of decades of sacrifice, innovation, and unwavering belief in humanity's right to exist. General Voss reviewed the mission data, her expression unreadable but resolute. "We are the Guardians," she said quietly. "This fleet is more than ships and weapons. It is hope." As the battle in the skies intensified, Earth's defenders moved with precision and confidence. The Dominion's arrogance was their weakness, and humanity's readiness was their greatest strength. In the shadows of space, the stealth fleet continued its relentless campaign. Silent hunters, protectors of a world that once seemed helpless, but was now a beacon of resistance. The galaxy was waking up to a new truth. Earth was not alone. Earth was prepared, and Earth would fight. The initial shock of the stealth fleet's attacks sent the Jar Dominion into chaos. Ships that once operated with ruthless efficiency now moved hesitantly, their commanders second-guessing every order. The Dominion's reputation for unstoppable conquest was crumbling under the weight of Earth's hidden defense. But the Jar were not a race to surrender easily. Talkesh, still seething with rage over the unexpected resistance, called an emergency war council. The war room aboard the flagship was filled with tension and grim faces. "We were fools to think this planet weak," Talkesh declared, pounding his fist on the table. "We will crush their fleet, expose their shadows, and bring Earth to its knees." His advisors nodded, but the doubt lingered. The stealth fleet was unlike any enemy they had faced before, ghostly and unpredictable. The Dominion's best tacticians struggled to devise a plan to counter it. On Earth, the atmosphere was a mix of anxiety and hope. The public, now aware of the invasion but not the full extent of the stealth fleet, braced for the worst. Governments continued to urge calm, while civilians prepared for possible conflict. Inside the secret command center, General Amina Voss studied the Dominion's latest maneuvers. The Jar had regrouped, attempting to trap the stealth fleet by feigning retreat toward the asteroid belt. "Talkesh wants to draw us out," she said, eyes sharp. "We won't fall for it." Commander Elias Hayes and his crew aboard the U.S. Revenant prepared for what could be the fleet's most dangerous engagement yet. "We strike on their flank," Hayes ordered. "Use the asteroid field as cover. They won't expect us to fight where space is this cluttered." The stealth fleet slipped into the asteroid belt, using massive rocks as natural shields against the Dominion sensors and weapons. It was a risky move. Collisions could be deadly, and the Jar had faster ships. But it also played to humanity's strengths, adaptability, and ingenuity. As the two forces clashed among the floating mountains of rock, the battle grew fierce. The stealth fleet used hit-and-run tactics, disabling Jar ships and disappearing into the maze of debris. The Dominion's heavy cruisers struggled to maneuver, their large size a liability in the confined space. Despite the danger, the humans held their ground. Each successful strike was a victory, a message that Earth's defenders were not just shadows, but a force to be reckoned with. However, the Jar were relentless. Talkesh deployed his elite hunters, specialized units trained to track and eliminate stealth targets. The hunters moved with deadly precision, adapting quickly to the stealth fleet's tactics. In one intense engagement, the U.S. Revenant found itself surrounded by 3 of these hunters. Lasers sliced through the dark, lighting up the asteroid field. Commander Hayes ordered evasive maneuvers, weaving the ship through narrow gaps between rocks, while his crew fired back with pinpoint accuracy. "Hold steady," Hayes shouted. "We can't let them pin us down." The battle raged on, both sides suffering damage, but neither willing to yield. The stealth fleet's skill and tenacity began to turn the tide, giving humanity hope that the Dominion's reign could be challenged. Back on Earth, news of the asteroid belt skirmish was carefully released to the public. The world learned of the courage and sacrifice behind the shadows. For many, it was the first real sign that Earth was fighting back and winning. General Voss watched the data feed from the command center, her heart steady but heavy. "We have bought ourselves time," she said quietly. "But the war is far from over." As the battle continued, alliances began to stir in distant systems. Other civilizations, long under the Dominion's thumb, observed Earth's resistance with growing interest. Some saw hope, others saw an opportunity. The stealth fleet's success was no longer just a defense, it was a spark lighting a rebellion across the stars. And Earth, once believed defenseless, was now the heart of a rising storm. The battle in the asteroid belt was only the beginning. While Earth's stealth fleet continued to wage war in the shadows, whispers of humanity's unexpected resistance rippled through the galaxy. The Jar Dominion, feared and hated across countless star systems, had always seemed invincible. But now the unthinkable was happening. Earth was fighting back. Far beyond the reach of the Dominion's fleet, in a remote star system on the fringe of known space, a council gathered. Representatives from dozens of alien races, many of whom had suffered under Jar rule, watched the news feeds with growing hope. Their worlds had long been subdued by the Dominion's ruthless conquests, but Earth's defiance sparked something new. "I have waited for this moment," said Lyra, an envoy from the Siren Confederacy. "For centuries, the Dominion has crushed our people, destroyed our homes, silenced our voices. But Earth's stealth fleet shows us that resistance is possible." Another delegate, a tall figure with shimmering blue skin named Vekthar, nodded. "Their fight is ours. We must support them if we are to break free from the Dominion's grip." A plan took shape. An alliance of exiled and oppressed species, disparate, wary, but united by a common enemy, would secretly provide Earth with aid. Technology, intelligence, and even small squadrons of ships began to slip through hidden channels toward the blue planet. Back on Earth, General Amina Voss received the first encrypted transmissions. Her eyes narrowed as she reviewed alien schematics and battle data. "They have technology beyond our own," she said, amazed but cautious. "We will integrate their knowledge carefully. This alliance could change everything." Commander Elias Hayes felt the shift firsthand. The stealth fleet's new weapons, shields, and sensors began to incorporate alien designs, enhancing their ability to evade and strike. Training sessions with alien pilots and strategists challenged humanity's assumptions, pushing the fleet to new heights. But with new allies came new challenges. Communication barriers, differing tactics, and mistrust threatened the fragile cooperation. Voss held daily briefings to ensure unity. "Our enemy is powerful, but divided we fall. Together, we stand a chance." Meanwhile, the Jar Dominion grew desperate. Talkesh ordered brutal crackdowns on occupied systems, hoping to crush any support Earth might receive. Entire colonies were raised as warnings. But these acts only fueled rebellion. Closer to Earth, the Dominion's warships increased patrols, desperate to root out the stealth fleet and its new allies. Ambushes and skirmishes became frequent, each side learning and adapting rapidly. One night, aboard the U.S. Revenant, a new signal crackled over the comms. It was a transmission from a small fleet of Siren fighters, reporting their arrival in Earth's orbit. Hayes smiled grimly. Reinforcements at last. This is the beginning of a new phase. Together, the combined fleets launched a daring operation against a key Dominion supply station, hidden within an asteroid cluster. The facility was vital for the Jar's logistics, a target whose destruction would severely disrupt their campaign. The battle was fierce. Siren fighters darted through the tight asteroid fields, engaging Jar patrols in blazing dogfights. Human stealth cruisers slipped silently among the shadows, striking from unexpected angles. Despite heavy losses, the Allied forces destroyed the station's main reactors, setting off a chain reaction that shattered the facility. The explosion lit the dark void, a beacon of hope and defiance. As the ships regrouped, General Voss addressed the fleet. "Today, we showed the Dominion that Earth is no longer alone. Our strength lies not just in our technology, but in our unity." The victory sent shockwaves through the Dominion's command. Tal Kesh's frustration deepened. The stubborn planet and its growing allies were becoming a problem far beyond what he had anticipated. But even as the Dominion scrambled to respond, Earth and its newfound allies prepared for the next battle, one that would determine the fate of the galaxy. The quiet resistance had grown loud. The tide was turning. With their alliance growing stronger, Earth and its newfound allies pushed deeper into Dominion-controlled space. Every victory was a blow to the Empire, every battle a spark that ignited hope among oppressed worlds. But with each step forward, the danger intensified. The Jar Dominion was not just a brutal empire, it was a master of strategy and psychological warfare. Tal Kesh, furious and desperate, devised a plan to crush the resistance once and for all. The target, Earth's hidden command center beneath the Pacific Ocean. If the Dominion could destroy the nerve center of humanity's defense, it would cripple the stealth fleet and shatter the fragile alliance. Tal Kesh ordered a massive strike force, combining his deadliest warships and advanced siege technology, to launch a surprise attack. On Earth, General Amina Voss received the intelligence with a steady calm that masked the storm inside. The enemy was coming closer than ever before. "We've prepared for this," she told her officers. "But it will be the hardest fight we've faced." The stealth fleet was ready. Ships were deployed in defensive formations around Earth's orbit, and new protocols were activated to shield the command center. The Allies positioned their own vessels strategically, forming a united front. Commander Elias Hayes stood on the bridge of the U.S. Revenant, watching the stars for signs of the approaching fleet. "This is it," he said. "We're the last line." When the Dominion's fleet emerged from hyperspace, it was a terrifying sight. Hundreds of ships, weapons blazing, engines roaring with destructive power. The skies around Earth lit up with the first salvo of a battle that would decide the fate of the planet. The stealth fleet moved quickly, striking with precision to disrupt the enemy's advance. Cloaked vessels fired from hidden positions, disabling key warships and forcing the Dominion to slow. Yet the Jar were relentless. Their siege engines launched devastating barrages against the command center's shields. Explosions rocked the underwater facility as emergency alarms blared. Inside the command center, personnel worked feverishly to maintain defenses. General Voss coordinated countermeasures, her voice calm but firm. "Hold the line. We cannot lose this place." On the battlefield, the Allied fleets fought with everything they had. Siren fighters engaged Dominion cruisers in deadly dogfights, while human ships coordinated with alien vessels to protect vulnerable points. Amid the chaos, Commander Hayes received a distress signal from a nearby outpost, a critical relay station under heavy fire. Diverting from the main battle, the U.S. Revenant raced to defend it. The outpost was surrounded by Jar boarding ships. Hayes ordered his crew to prepare for close combat. As boarding parties breached the hull, the fight became brutal and personal. Laser fire echoed through narrow corridors as the crew battled to repel the invaders. Hayes led the charge, moving through the chaos with calm determination. Back at the command center, General Voss watched the battle unfold on screens. The fate of Earth rested on every hand and every heart. "We fight for more than survival," she said softly. "We fight for the future of all who believe in freedom." Despite fierce resistance, the Dominion's forces pushed hard. The command center's shields faltered, systems glitched, and the tension mounted. Then, just when it seemed hope might fade, reinforcements arrived. Ships from other rebel systems, inspired by Earth's courage, joined the fray. Their arrival turned the tide, pushing the Dominion fleet back. Talkesh's command ship was hit by a coordinated strike. Systems failed, and his flagship was forced to retreat. The Dominion's attack faltered, giving Earth and its allies a hard-won victory. The cost was high. Many lives were lost, and the scars of battle marked the planet's orbit. But the command center stood, battered but unbroken. In the quiet aftermath, General Voss addressed her people. "We have faced the heart of the storm and stood strong. This victory belongs to all who refuse to be enslaved." Across the galaxy, the message spread. Earth was not just a planet. It was a symbol of resistance, a beacon of hope in the dark. The war was far from over, but humanity had proven one undeniable truth. No force, no matter how powerful, could extinguish the spirit of those who fight for their home. The battle had changed everything. The Dominion's retreat was more than a defeat. It was a signal to the galaxy that Earth was no longer a forgotten planet, a weak world to be crushed without thought. Earth had risen, hidden no more, and the balance of power was shifting. In the weeks after the Great Battle, Earth's skies remained tense but calm. The stealth fleet continued patrols, its ships moving like shadows over the planet's atmosphere. The alien allies integrated deeper into Earth's defenses, sharing knowledge, culture, and hope. General Amina Voss stood on the command center's observation deck, looking out at the stars. The war was not over, but the future looked brighter than it had in decades. "We have shown what can happen when courage meets unity," she said softly. Commander Elias Hayes joined her, fatigue etched on his face, but eyes shining with determination. "They thought we were defenseless," he said, "but we were ready all along." Around the world, people celebrated cautiously, streets filled with cheers and flags, but also quiet moments of reflection. The cost had been high, and many homes were lost. Yet the resolve to protect Earth was stronger than ever. Leaders of Earth and the allied species formed a new coalition, the Galactic Resistance, a united front against the Dominion's tyranny. Their mission was clear: to free the galaxy from oppression and ensure that no planet would ever suffer the same fate. Talkesh and the Jar Dominion retreated to their core worlds, licking wounds and planning revenge. But their grip was loosening. More systems began to rise up, inspired by Earth's fight, sending ships and resources to join the resistance. On board the U.S. Revenant, Hayes and his crew prepared for their next mission. "The fight will be long," he said, "but we've seen what we can do when we believe in each other." In hidden corners of the galaxy, rebellions flared. New alliances formed, old grudges set aside for a common cause. The Dominion's shadow was fading. And at the heart of it all was Earth, the planet that refused to be conquered. As the sun rose over the Pacific Ocean, casting golden light on the waves, humanity stood united. The stealth fleet's secret was no longer a weapon of fear, but a symbol of hope. The stars, once distant and intimidating, now beckoned with possibilities. Earth was ready to meet them, not as a victim, but as a guardian. The galaxy had learned a vital truth. Underestimating humanity was a mistake no enemy could afford. A new dawn was breaking, not just for Earth, but for all who dreamed of freedom.